Local news, national news, even feel-good news. Delivering the topics that are relevant to you.
That's why I listen to Joe. He covers it all.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Finally got a bit of a break from the rain, which is nice. I don't think we've started our show in the last 2 weeks without having rain throughout Central Florida, so it is kind of nice. But there is another storm brewing as another property insurer is leaving Florida. Farmers Insurance. We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. They're leaving the state of Florida. They're saying, adios, Florida. They're out of here. They're going to stop writing new business and not renew any existing farmers-branded automobile, home, and umbrella policies in the Sunshine State. So they're not just canceling homeowners insurance policies, but automobile and umbrella policies as well. Last month, Farmers said it was only pausing new business in Florida. The company is also limiting new home policies in California, where it's based. The move is going to impact about 30% of the company's business in Florida, or about 100,000 policies. I want to know from you, and I have seen this just bubbling up everywhere. At the moment, for the first time since I was like 20 years old, I don't own a house. I was an eager young lad and was eager to get out and buy a house as a relatively young person, and I bought a house, and I have owned houses my whole life. I've at times owned rental houses and some additional real estate, and now, I don't know, I'm kind of excited that I'm just renting. I am renting an apartment for the first time in a very long time in my life, and so I'm not getting walloped by these high homeowners insurance rates. I certainly can appreciate what this is doing to household budgets. But as you are getting your renewal rates, as you're finding out what your homeowners insurance rates are doing, let us know. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. This marks the latest stumble into instability for Florida's property insurance market. 7 Florida property insurers were declared insolvent in the past year and a half. Another 15 have stopped writing new business for the same time period. I've got this massive list here of all of these insurers that have left the state in the last year and a half. Many of these insurance companies are not the brand name insurance companies that I've ever heard of. You're not the kind that you see the TV commercials for, hear the radio commercials for, but they're smaller companies, but they're all leaving the state of Florida. And I was cruising through Facebook, as we all do, and I was looking at my friend Jane, and Jane was stunned. She wrote this just a short time ago, that her homeowner's insurance went up from $3,026 a year to $6,161. More than double the rate of homeowners insurance. Laurel, you and your husband own a home. Have you seen new policies come in yet? Are you seeing an increase in your homeowners insurance rates?
Not yet. Now, we've only had the home for 2, going into our 3rd year now, and not yet, but we did have that giant hailstorm hit us a few months ago. So all of us in our neighborhood are thinking all of these, hiccups and all these insurance companies leaving, and plus the hailstorm, we're about to see a jump. We're expecting it.
Yeah, and we're just really kind of beginning still in hurricane season, and we have yet to see a major hurricane hit the state of Florida. We've yet to see any hurricane hit the state of Florida this hurricane season, and it could get a whole lot worse. And I mentioned to you that I saw my friend Jane, and I started looking through. She had some 36 comments, and I was curious to see what people were saying in the comments. And let me just give you some samplings. One person writes, ours went up $1,200. I'm ready to leave Florida. Another says, mine went up almost $7,000. That is breathtaking. Another writes, mine went from $1,400 to $2,900. Another says, our condo association had a 75% increase. And I know that for people like me and others who are living in apartments, the theory goes that that your building is still going to have to buy homeowners insurance. They're going to have to buy, building insurance there, and then they pass along the costs to the renters. but it just doesn't hit quite as hard for renters as it does for homeowners. Another person writes, mine went from $3,000 to $7,000. Another writes, ours almost tripled. Someone here says it went from $2,500 to $7,000 about 6 months ago. Another writes that ours went from $2,500 to $5,000 with less coverage. And this is after they installed a new roof and hurricane windows. Another says ours almost tripled. We're switching companies. Mine went up 40%. Another person writes, what is your insurance doing at your home? And for that matter, your automobile and if you have an umbrella policy. I just took out a new automobile policy for my latest driver in my family as my two 17-year-old twins, Brooks and Dunn, are now finally getting their driver's licenses and getting cars. And Dunn got his car, his first car, and I am helping him shop around insurance prices and making sure that his car is fully insured. And I'll tell you that these rates are quite a bit higher than rates that I experienced when I was a relatively new driver and the sort. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app.
Yeah, ours went up 30% after I had to find a new insurance carrier because our last one told us they were non-renewing us because the county cost them too much money from the storms last year. But what is our government doing to help us? They're fighting with Disney World and giving insurance companies breaks. Where is our break?
Yeah, so at the tail end of 2022, Governor DeSantis signed a property insurance overhaul bill that would likely raise premium costs for many Florida residents while offering tax rebates for those who were hit by recent hurricanes. I don't know why the governor would sign a property insurance overhaul bill that's going to raise all of our rates, but yet that's exactly what happened. The legislation did nothing to address the rising costs. Instead, the bill required the state-backed Citizens Property Insurance Corporation, and Citizens Property Insurance Corporation is the insurance company of last resort. That is, if you can't find anybody else to insure your home, you have to fall back to the Citizens Property Insurance Corporation, and their policyholders, let me see, hang on, let me back this up here as I read through this. They are being told to switch to private insurance company if their renewal offer was less than 20% higher. I don't know what the governor is doing. I don't know what anybody is doing to help with these prices. But I can tell you that for the answer of why our insurance prices have gone up so significantly, it is based upon a couple of different factors, one of which is that we are the most litigious state in America when it comes to insurance. We are more inclined to sue somebody over insurance in the state of Florida than in any other state. So we evidently like our lawyers and we like suing, and that is part of the reason why our rates are as high as they are. Trying to find some notes that I had printed out earlier, and forgive me for fumbling around. All right, here it is. In October 2022, the Insurance Information Institute, or III, published data showing that Florida leads the nation in homeowners insurance-related litigation, making up 79% of the lawsuits in the United States, while accounting for just 9% of the total claims. Damn, we've got a lot of lawsuits here in Florida when it comes to our rooftops and fences and everything else like that. In the brief, III states that fraudulent roof replacement schemes and too much litigation, coupled with generous attorney fee mechanisms, resulted in huge net underwriting losses for Florida's homeowners insurers. Well, that's a huge problem now, isn't it? 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. We're talking about our homeowners insurance and our insurance rates on the rise here in the state of Florida. Let me throw another talk radio morsel into the cookie here as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is now on track to lose the Republican primary in his home state if the GOP field doesn't narrow to just two frontrunners. The most recent race to the White House model, this is a computer forecaster. It's not a survey as much as it is a forecaster computer model. But the most recent race to the White House model, updated Monday, concluded that Donald Trump is on track to either decisively or narrowly win 49 of the 50 states. 49 of the 50 states. If I was Ron DeSantis right now, I would be beside myself. I would be wondering, what in the world am I doing? Why am I in this presidential race? If he doesn't turn that around and turn that around fast, I suspect that Ron DeSantis is going to have to bow out of that race sooner than he had anticipated. Of course, there is still plenty of time. I know that people get kind of worked up and excited by some of the early polling numbers. There is plenty of time. And the only day, that Ron DeSantis really needs to be on top of the polls is Election Day if he is going to win the state of Florida and win the GOP party nomination. But what do you think when it comes down to DeSantis versus Donald Trump? Do you have any hope that Ron DeSantis is going to be able to pull this out, that Ron DeSantis is somehow going to be able to, part the Red Sea and make his way through and then suddenly have everybody enthralled with his campaign, much the way so many American citizens have been enthralled with Donald Trump and his campaign. I thought it's been interesting to see that Donald Trump and all of his campaign travels has not had Melania with him at all during this campaign. And people have been making fun of Ron DeSantis because of Casey DeSantis. People are they've taken to calling her America's Karen, which is ridiculous. They're criticizing Ron DeSantis for bringing his wife onto the campaign trail, which is the exact same thing that pretty much every other presidential candidate has done at one time or another. I mean, there was even a time in which Donald Trump had Melania Trump going out and making campaign speeches. Not a lot, just a couple of them, but he did have her go out and make some campaign speeches. We know that Michelle Obama made campaign speeches. We know that Jill Biden has gone out and made campaign speeches. I don't know that Laura Bush ever made campaign speeches. She was always a librarian / homemaker, and she kind of stayed out of everything. But it's not uncommon to see a candidate's wife get up and try to offer a different perspective of the candidate. Sometimes a candidate's wife or a candidate's spouse, can offer a softer side of someone, can offer a perspective on someone that person can't really offer on their own. Ron DeSantis really can't come out and say, gosh, guys, I'm really a nice guy. I'm a loving and faithful husband. But Casey DeSantis can come out and say that. It's just that Ron DeSantis really can't. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Hit me up right now. Don't forget, if you ever miss a minute of the Joe Kelley Show, just look for the Joe Kelley Show podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to be able to see the behind the scenes, join us in the chat room right now on the WDBO Facebook page.
Now, the three big things you need to know.
3. Frontier Airlines Unlimited Fall and Winter Pass is on sale for $299. The Go Wild Pass has no cap on the number of domestic and international flights holders can take from September 2023 to February of 2024. It's typically priced at $999. 2. A 4-year-old boy is dead after falling out of a 4th-floor story window in Brooklyn on Monday afternoon. Police are looking into whether the apartment had window guards in place at the time. 1. The Secret Service will brief the House Oversight Committee on their investigation into the cocaine found inside the White House. Committee Chair Republican James Comer of Kentucky has requested the briefing for days. MSNBC reports it will happen Thursday morning.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Well, I've been going through the open mics here of everybody who has seen their homeowners insurance rates go up, and this is so troubling. I am just crushed to hear how everybody's homeowners insurance rates are going up, and I don't know how people are going to be able to stay in their homes. I don't know how people are going to be able to afford living there.
Hey, Joe. awesome show. Listen to you every day.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, insurance companies, you're not always in good hands because the reason why there's so much litigation is you have to go after them just to get a few dollars to do anything. So if they would just do the right thing, we wouldn't be so sue happy. Have a great day. Love the show.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. And yeah, I can totally see that.
Ron DeSantis needs to realize.
Wait, what was that? Does that guy stutter, or was that a mechanical issue?
Ron DeSantis needs.
Sounds like Max Headroom, doesn't he?
Ron DeSantis needs to realize that Florida wants him to continue to be governor for the next 4 years or whatever it is, and then be run for president after Donald Trump finishes his 4 terms.
Well, he's not going to serve 4 terms. He may serve a second term, but he certainly won't serve 4 terms. I'm sure that's what you meant.
Joe, this is Richard in St. Cloud. Just wanted to say, at the rate that property insurance rates are going up, only the very rich are going to be able to own property in Florida, and everyone else in the service class will have to pay rent to them. Sounds very much like a medieval feudal system.
Honestly, the way people are describing their increases in their mortgage payments, it is insane. I don't know how people are going to be able to afford houses. You know, my wife and I have been talking about buying a house, and now at this point I'm like, well, we're going to sit this one out. We're gonna sit on the sidelines and wait for things to settle down a little bit before we consider buying a house.
Do you need to sue your homeowners insurance? Call Morgan & Morgan for the people.com.
That may be what you're going to have to do.
Joe, I just got my insurance premium notice for the year. It jumped $1,900 over last year, and I just have a small little over 1,200 square foot house. And so there's absolutely no reason for that. So I think, okay, I need to go rent. But, it's going to be supply and demand. If no one can afford insurance, everyone's going to want to rent. That's going to drive those prices up.
I will tell you that there is no doubt a housing crisis. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. There's a housing crisis not only in Florida, but there's a major housing crisis in Orlando. There are so many buildings in downtown that are going up. That are being constructed as residences. There are several commercial buildings downtown that are being retrofitted. They're being redone, rebuilt as residences rather than commercial enterprises. Do you guys remember, Laurel, do you remember where Wahlburgers was? It's on the corner of Church and Orange Avenue in downtown.
Yeah, by the Grimbo. Is that the hotel?
It's not too far from the Bohemian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the Wahlburgers closed at the beginning of the pandemic, but there's a great new taco tequila place there called Solitas. And it's absolutely fantastic. And I feel so sorry because they just opened, and now the entire building is surrounded by scaffolding. So to get into this restaurant, you've got to navigate through this scaffolding. And they do have some cute signs up, Solitas does, that says, we're not playing hide and seek. We're really open. You can come in. And so people are going in there. But the reason they're putting scaffolding up around that building, at least the last time I read, unless something has changed, but that building I've known for the last year and a half, bless you, was going to be converted. I just saw Laurel sneeze. Is going to be converted into residential building. Now, if you look at the building, it's basically a cube. It's a boring, architecturally boring cube with no porches, no balconies, and very few windows. And they're going to have to do some major reconstruction to make that a residential property. There's another building that is kind of catty-corner to where the Orlando Sentinel used to be. And it was a long closed-down commercial building that is soon going to reopen as a residential building. Then you head out west, out to West Orange County. Man, they are building apartments out there like crazy. They're building so many apartments, and once all these apartments come online, it may help lower some of the prices, the rents. But otherwise, the open micer was absolutely right that rents are going to continue to go up and they're going to continue to be unaffordable, particularly for the service sector, of which Orlando has a lot of people. 844-580-WDBO or hit me up in the open mic in the WDBO app.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Insightful.
You tell the truth from your point of view.
Entertaining.
Man, that guy is a lot taller than he sounds on the radio.
And engaging.
When we hear you on the radio, it's a good thing.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Governor DeSantis, and more importantly, presidential candidate DeSantis, today on Fox Business was asked if he has a climate plan. Here's his response.
Do you have a climate plan? It's going to be to rip up Joe Biden's Green New Deal. I think at the end of the day, we need to embrace American domestic energy. This could be a huge source of national security, economic vitality. It can build our industrial base. In Florida, we've actually had a huge reduction in emissions, but it was done through innovation. It was done through market forces, not command and control. So we'll go about that in a much different direction than Joe Biden. I think ultimately Biden's policies and Bidenomics is really about making the average person poorer and reducing their standard of living. That is not the way you go about it.
And if you're just joining us, of course, we're talking about how the insurance rates, homeowners insurance rates, are going through the roof right now in Florida. You can join the discussion at 844-580-WDBO. That's 844-580-9326, or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
Yes, my homeowners insurance went up from $1,700 to almost $4,000, which is a $466 a month increase on my house payment. So I'm going to probably be forced to get a second job. I make good money, but with everything else that has gone up and my electric bill and things, I don't have that kind of money. So I don't have a problem with raising rates, but I think it should have been done gradually.
I'm sorry, but America is jacked up. I'm very disappointed with America. I'm disappointed with Florida right now, that people have to go out and get second jobs just to be able to afford their homeowners insurance. I mean, what a tragedy that is.
I had Progressive insurance on my 1969 home since 2009, and we got a new roof in 2017, and my rate was around $1,600 last year, and for the renewal, they wanted $5,200, or a little over $5,200. So I had to shop around, and the lowest I could find was Citizens at $2,300.
Well, and again, Citizens is the last resort for homeowners insurance policies, and certainly you should shop around. Do not accept the rate increase that you get without shopping around. Take a look. I mean, you're not guaranteed to find anything better, but shop around, because there might be better rates out there.
So between DeSantis and Trump, it's Trump to Trump, 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 Trump. See what I did there, Joe Kelley?
I did.
I figured you'd like that.
I did.
We are farmers, bum, 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 bum. We are farmers, bum, 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 bum. We are farmers, bum, 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 bum.
That's the thing I love about YouTube, is you can find anything on YouTube, and it's an hour long. There's an hour-long video of the We Are Farmers jingle. The jingle in and of itself is like 3 seconds long, so it's looped over and over and over again to make it an hour long.
One thing I found that lowered my insurance was I paid $100 for a wind mitigation specialist to come out, and he sent the report to my insurance company, and it lowered it, I think, about $400 for the year.
No kidding. That's something to look into as well.
My homeowner's insurance went from under $3,000 to over $8,000. And so what I did was I took it off of escrow and went shopping for my own policy. And so I pay my own policy now, and then back down to under $3,000.
Good for you. Smart consumer you are.
Hey, Joe, these insurance companies take their profits, they reinvest it, and they make profit on that. Once in a while, when they have a bad year or 2 bad years, they can eat peanut butter sandwiches, they can turn in some of that profit, and they don't have to go crazy raising rates exponentially. This is disgusting, and it's despicable. Eat peanut butter sandwiches for a while, you insurance people.
I love that. We all ate ramen noodles for a long time, right? Ramen noodles are like 8 cents a brick. I mean, for that got all of us through college. Ramen noodles did. And she's telling the insurance companies to eat ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches. Yeah, suck it up like the rest of us and eat some peanut butter sandwiches, for Pete's sake. It's 5:42 now on the Joe Kelley Show.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
All right, Paul Cross is checking our drive here this afternoon. How are things shaping up? Finally, the roads are dry.
Yeah, you know what? You said that earlier in the broadcast, and you were right. This is the first time we've started this program off in a long time where it wasn't raining for most of the afternoon. But we still have our share of delays here, Joe. We've got a crash, too, on Narcoossee Road at the 417. Part of that intersection is blocked. But then back on I-4 westbound through Lake Mary, really heavy brake lights there. Then from Princeton onto the 408 ramps, and then a crash before Colonial, tying things up there. We go further now to the west, and we have more brake lights here. Sand Lake to 535, and then Osceola Parkway to 532, with a couple of crashes near 192 and at World Drive. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Keep seeing all these headlines about how the Disney parks are just about empty. The ZeroHedge.com headline reads, "Where is everybody? Disney World, quote, just about empty." Disney World in Orlando is suffering. Here it is, mid-July. Schools are out, families are on vacation, and the streets of Disney are about empty. Laurel, you have a season pass, the last time I recall.
I do. I have an annual pass, yes.
Have you been there recently?
So what's funny is no. I was going like every weekend, and just for different reasons. I haven't been there in maybe 2 months. But our reporter, Nicole Diaz, spoke with our friend Michelle Atwood of the Main Street Mouse, and she also said that, yeah, she was surprised about how empty the parks are.
That's crazy to think that. And then one wonders, is it about the economy? Is it about Governor DeSantis? Is it about wokeism? Is it about people are... I had read multiple reports that some of the rides are closed more often than usual and things are getting run down. I mean, are you seeing that?
No, I haven't seen that at all, to be honest. But, when people save for years, those who are not here, live here, save for years to come down to Disney, they don't tend to care at all about politics or the weather or anything. I mean, if they save, they're coming. So I'm very surprised at how it's summer break, for goodness sakes. I wonder where everybody is.
The Wall Street Journal cites new data from Touring Plans, a company that tracks wait times at theme parks, which reported that Disney World and Disneyland in California had significantly lower wait times to get on rides on Independence Day weekend. So even on Independence Day weekend, when you would think that the parks would all be sold out, they had plenty of room, it appears. According to Touring Plans, Disney's Hollywood Studios theme park here in Central Florida experienced the third slowest day in the past year. The average wait time at Magic Kingdom Park was around 27 minutes, down from 31 minutes last year and 47 minutes in 2019. Well, 2019 was at the height of the pandemic. I didn't think a whole lot of people went to the park in 2019. Disney's market capitalization has been halved since peaking at $335 billion in March of 2021. The Wall Street Journal says that the Orlando area resort is even offering hotel discounts around Christmas, typically a peak period. I mean, if ever there was a time, if my friends ever say, hey, Joe, we're thinking about coming to Orlando to go to the theme parks, when's a good time to come and a good time not to come? I always say, don't even think about coming during Christmas, because anytime between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it is a nightmare. And most of the days, the theme parks are going to hit capacity and they're going to be sold out and they're going to close the gates and everything else like that. But even now, it appears that they're anticipating what's going to be a slow holiday season. Maybe we should all reach out to our families and say, hey, you should come to Orlando this holiday because the lines are going to be incredibly short at our theme parks. Now, this as TheStreet.com is reporting that within the next 3 years, it's expected that Disney is going to sell out, that Disney is going to completely sell out to a different company. They're going to be sold. And I'm sure you know what company, right? Anybody have a guess? What company would have enough money to buy Disney? Ronald.
Apple?
Yeah, that's right. It's Apple. Apple has a market cap of about $2.5 trillion. What did I just say the market cap was of Disney? $335 billion. Actually, it's half of that. That's what it was back in March of 2021. So it's gone down significantly since then. And Apple's got a market cap of $2.5 trillion. Apple was the first company to have a market capitalization of more than $1 trillion. So they could buy Disney and still have tons of money left over. This here from the street, as the iconic entertainment company prepares to celebrate its centennial in October, the usually busy summer season for its theme parks have hit a snag with shorter wait times and slowing traffic. At the box office, the recent flop of Disney Pixar's Elemental is also weighing on the company, as the animated film with a $200 million budget took in less than $30 million in its opening weekend. Not to mention, the Indiana Jones movie has done terrible. What are all the other Disney movies that have done just terrible at the box office? Several Marvel movies have done terrible. Just another Black Adam. I don't think Black Adam was a Marvel movie, was it?
No,
that's DC, right?
Yeah.
And add to that the 14 million subscribers that Disney Plus lost earlier this year, and the three main pillars of the House of the Mouse, that is theme parks, film, and TV, are all experiencing shaky times right now. And in these shaky times, analysts believe the best option for the historic company is to sell itself. And in a note this week, the firm says that the sale will happen within the next 3 years. I don't know. Do you think things would get better if Apple bought Disney? I think there would come a point at which Apple would be running really close to the territory of monopolistic. Monopolistic. I mean, if they have every cell phone device, every tablet device, every computer device, TV, theme parks, and motion pictures, and Apple already has TV with Apple TV anyway, which, by the way, is far superior to Disney Plus. Apple Plus is much better than Disney Plus. What would you think if Apple swooped in and bought Disney? That would just be weird to think of Disney not being owned by Disney, but that's the time that we're in now, isn't it? 844-580-WDBO, or hit me up in the open mic in the WDBO app.
The Joe Kelley Show on The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Breaking news to lively debates, covering the issues that matter to you.
I make it a point to listen to Joe Kelley when I need to fully understand what's happening in the news.
Now, The Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
And I'm so glad you're joining us here tonight. It's 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Coming up in a few minutes here, there is an interesting new poll that basically pits Governor DeSantis against the Walt Disney Company as to which is more popular. Care to take a guess as to which you think is going to come out higher in that poll? I'll have it for you coming up just after the top of the hour. In the meantime, we're talking about a variety of things, not the least of which is analysts expect Disney to be bought by Apple within the next 3 years. The Disney parks are evidently vacated. There aren't a whole lot of people going right now. And Florida's insurance rates are going through the roof. So we're talking about Disney and Florida and insurance and DeSantis.
As far as Disney's concerned, it's what you said, all of the above. And me, my friends, the only reason we even still got Disney Plus is Mandalorian. Maybe Ahsoka. But other than that, yeah, we would all be done with that too.
You know, honestly, I have Disney Plus because when it first, before it hit the market, Laurel, do you remember Disney had a deal where you could get 3 years for some ridiculously low price?
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I did 3 years of Disney Plus for a ridiculously low price. And I have to think that's coming up on 3 years ago. When did Disney Plus actually start?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. I'd have to Google that.
Hang on. Hey, Google, when did Disney Plus start streaming?
On the website disney.fandom.com, they say it was launched on November 12, 2019. Disney Plus was launched as
November 12, 20... Hey, Google, stop! So November 12, 2019. So I've had it since then, and it should be finished by this November, right? 2019, 2021, 22, 23. So by November, my 3 years should be up. And then I will not renew it at that point for sure. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. Coming up next, as a polling company compares the popularity of both Ron DeSantis and Disney, who do you think comes out on top? Hang on. We'll have it for you coming up after the news at 6 right here on The Joe Kelley Show.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Still have that crash in Seminole County. It's 436 westbound at Laurel Street. They have cleared the roadway now, so there are no more lanes blocked there. Still heavy as well, I-4 westbound as you make your way through Lake Mary, and then from Princeton onto the 408 ramps. More brake lights westbound from Sand Lake to 535 and Osceola Parkway to 532. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. Join the conversation now by using the open mic in the WDBO app. Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's news and talk, WDBO.
Honestly, I'm just kind of gobsmacked at how far the brand of Disney has fallen in the last few years. I'm just stunned. I mean, Disney used to be one of the most perfect brands in America. Disney was one of the most beloved brands in all of America. I mean, I remember as a kid growing up, I loved Disney. I grew up I was born in California. I didn't spend a whole lot of time growing up there, but I was there long enough that my parents took me to Anaheim, to Disneyland when I was a kid a couple times, and I remember the experience vividly to this day. I mean, I was just a little Joe Kelley at the time, but I remember it because Disney had that big of an impact on my life. I remember Sunday nights, we would all huddle around the TV on Sunday nights for the Disney movie, whatever it was going to be on Sunday nights on TV. And that had such a special place in my heart. And I had such fondness for Disney for a very short period of time when Disney owned ABC Radio. I actually worked for Disney for a short period of time, for about a year and a half. I worked for Disney in their radio division. They have since sold off all their radio stations. But even, working for Disney, for me, that was a thrill, even though it was radio and it had nothing to do with a theme park or anything else like that. It was just a radio station. It was a talk radio station that they owned. And it blows my mind how far their brand has fallen. I think of Bud Light, and Bud Light ruined their brand overnight. I mean, Bud Light imploded as quickly as the Titan submersible in a single episode. Bud Light did. But Disney has taken years to get to where they are right now. They have taken years of being off course to get to where they are right now. A new poll finds that Governor Ron DeSantis' political feud with the Walt Disney Company is a battle that is supported by a majority of Floridians. Let me rephrase that. By a plurality of Floridians, a near majority of Floridians. The poll, conducted by Florida Atlantic University, handed DeSantis the edge in support against Disney at a total of 47% for DeSantis, 43% for Disney. Now, I don't like the premise of the poll. I don't like pitting a governor against a company. I don't like pitting a presidential candidate against a major corporation, an entertainment giant. They don't travel in the same circles. They're not related. They're not comparable. It's apples and oranges. But I guess when it comes to the popularity of the two, I guess you could measure that. And that's what we're looking at here, is that Governor DeSantis is more popular than Disney. And and these are Floridians. I mean, do you know how many Floridians at one point or another have worked for Disney, have been to Disney theme parks, have been engaged with Disney products and services? It absolutely blows my mind the low opinion that Floridians have of Disney. And I hear all your complaints. I know why everybody is displeased with Disney, and I understand it. It's not like I don't get that part. It just blows my mind how a major corporation like that can fall so far without issuing some sort of correction, without finding their way back. And that's exactly what they've done, is they have fallen and they continue to fall. And that just, it breaks my heart as a childhood memory. I mean, my 401ks are probably invested in Disney, but I don't have any individual Disney stocks. I don't get anything free from Disney. I don't have a free Disney pass. But I've just always loved Disney as a kid. But Disney has changed, it seems. And it has alienated so many people and former fans, quite frankly. And it just breaks my heart to see that. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic and the WDBO app. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that that your support for Disney has fallen over the years? Let's go to Connie in Orlando joining us here on the Joe Kelley Show. Hi, Connie. Thanks for hanging on.
Hi, Joe. I can share your sympathy. I am so heartbroken over Disney. It's been a part of our lives for as long as I can remember. And it's always been a bit on the expensive side, but you make the sacrifices. You save, you do, you go, you have a great time. They're not worth the sacrifice anymore because they did go woke. And the thing that really, I think, clenched it for us, Joe, shutting down Splash Mountain. Are you kidding? And they didn't shut it down because it was too old or decrepit and they couldn't afford to keep up with it. They caved to the woke mob.
Because of the Song of the South.
Yes. As a child, who thinks of that stuff? You're going on there with zippity-doo-dah. You love it, And even as an adult, I never looked at that as racist or anything like that. I enjoyed the heck out of it. And now it's gone.
Well, and the movie Song of the South in and of itself was not racist, but the movie did have racial tropes in it, and that is what has offended some people. But Disney still owns the movie Song of the South, and Disney has not let anybody see that movie anywhere in decades. I mean, that movie has been buried deep, deep, deep underneath Walt Disney somewhere in some cryogenic chamber that no one will ever see again. Because they don't want anybody to see Song of the South again. So if you would have gone through Splash Mountain when it was Song of the South themed, most people don't know where those characters even come from, Brer Rabbits and the like, because no one has seen that movie in decades.
Yep. Well, you know what? If they want to cave to the woke mob, they could take their zippity and shove it up their doodah. We're not going back. I need my Splash Mountain, and that just broke my heart.
I love you,
Connie.
Connie.
Did.
Thank you so much.
I love you, Joe.
Thanks for calling. I appreciate that. Let's go to Michelle in Orlando. You're on WDBO, the Joe Kelley Show. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Joe. We spoke one other time before, and I love when you have good topics that I can, jump in. So I have been a Disney employee for many years, singer-dancer, Kid of the Kingdom. Also, I was Disney's first Tinkerbell. I flew from the castle.
Oh, my gosh.
For 15 years. Oh, yes.
Was that scary?
I had both my babies in my belly flying down.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it wasn't. But when you're up that high, you can see the lightning hitting the ground.
Oh, I'm starting to get dizzy. You just telling me this story. You've got to stop because I'm gonna throw up or something. So,
okay.
So what do you think about Disney after all these years? I mean, has it changed in your mind?
Horribly. I can't even tell you. And the old Disney employees, I speak to them still every day, and it is they're just baffled as to why they would be shooting themselves in the foot like they have, over and over and over. It's just been slowly happening through the years. They get rid of different musician groups. They just go to canned music, And then here they are building hotels all over the place, and then they act like they don't have any money, you know. But the wokeness really is, I will never go back to Disney. I will never go back there, ever. And I have a lot of friends that feel the same way. So they are not kid-friendly anymore. I mean, and even the employees, you know, from what I hear now, you know, I don't know exactly what they say or do, but even, you know, they have a lot of that critical race, all that garbage when people enter, you know. So,
man, I'm heartbroken for the loss of my childhood memories.
Yes, and I totally agree with you because I remember going in 7th grade where it was just absolutely magical, you know. And now we just kind of look at it and it's, you know, it's ridiculous how pricing has gone up. Even the CEO is saying, yeah, we're kind of overpriced. He said it himself.
He did. He sure did.
Yeah. They'd rather have people come on in who can spend more and they don't really care. They don't really care from what I've read. You know, you can't believe everything. But
no. That was exactly the plan. They wanted fewer people with that spent more money. And that way there wouldn't be long lines at the park. That was their strategy, was to continue to raise the price and raise the price and raise the price and raise the price till they got to the point at which they could finally thin out the massive crowds there and everybody could have a good time and Disney could still make just as much, if not more money, by charging more money to get in for those select few who could still afford it.
And, you know, that's so interesting because I couldn't really, you know, I didn't really know why they were doing that. And then you think, do they really need more money? I mean, honestly, it's like people can't even come in from out of town. So, you know, the plane trips and then, you know, paying $50 per person for a meal is just getting ridiculous. The pricing is outrageous.
And but here's something that's interesting, Michelle, is it's not just Disney that has their numbers off, as Universal has also seen their numbers declining in the last year. So, you know, we're not hearing the same, you know, woke discussion coming out of Universal, but their theme park numbers are down too.
Well, are they, you know, I'm so over theme parks just because I worked in them half my life. And I really, you know, what we used to do with Disney is we'd be in the tunnels and then you get up where the people are and it's hot. People aren't happy. You know, it's just, you know, the kids are screaming and it's like, okay, let's get out of here. You know, so then you'd run back underneath in the tunnel. So I don't like, honestly, the huge crowds either. But that's, to me, that's kind of what Disney is, you know, tons and tons of people.
And last question for you here, Michelle, and I'm curious, do you think that us as adults or people as adults having a falling out with Disney is because we are adults and we no longer have that sense of magic and awe that we did when we were children?
Oh, my God, absolutely. Absolutely, because you know, you have that magical thing in your head. You go in, the smell of the contemporary, you know, the watching the guys play the instruments. What are they called? The Spanish guys. You know, oh my God, it was so amazing. And going, you know, the monorail was like such a huge thing for me. And all this woke stuff has absolutely bittered me towards everything. I honestly, I will not go back there. And that's true. That is true. So
that is heartbreaking, I'm sure, for Disney to hear that. Heartbreaking for me to hear that. Well, Tinkerbell, it's great talking to you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you survived the high wire act as being a Tinkerbell.
Hey, listen, I used to fly trapeze, so Tinkerbell was pretty safe to everything else I did.
You are a brave, brave woman. Michelle, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Laura, would you believe that I have never actually seen that? I have never seen the thing where Tinkerbell comes off the castle.
Oh, man, it's so cool.
Either I'm not there late enough at night or I'm not looking in the right direction or whatever it is. I always see the wire that's there, but I have never seen anybody coming down that wire. Is there a video of it online that I could look at?
Definitely.
Okay, because I want to see that then. My name is Joe Kelley. You're listening to The Joe Kelley Show. Coming up in a moment. Wait, before you head out to the beach for the week, wait till you hear what the beach is covered in. I mean, you may never, forget about going to Disney. You may never want to go to the beach ever in your life, ever again. when you hear what I've got for you coming up next.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Talk and discussion on the latest breaking national news.
Crude oil prices continue to fall.
Local news.
You're not going to have Disney have its own government in Central Florida.
And stories that matter to you. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let your voice be heard on the Joe Kelley Show.
Whoa, hang on, wait. Before you guys head out to the beach, you need to hear this. More than half of America's beaches are contaminated with poop, and sewage, making the waters unsafe to swim in. Shocking new report from Environment America. The group found that 55% of more than 3,100 beaches had at least one day when fecal contamination reached potentially unsafe levels. Oh, how about that? Even more disgusting, America's shores are polluted with human and animal waste dumped into the ocean from sewage outflows, factory farms, and industrial livestock operations. Texas beaches were the worst in the nation. That's not a big surprise. 90% of 61 beaches tested at unsanitary levels in Texas. As a region, the Gulf Coast tested the worst. That includes the Gulf Coast of Florida. 84% of the shoreline fails to meet clean standards, followed by the West Coast and the Great Lakes. Louisiana and Pennsylvania, with its Lake Erie beaches, were the top state offenders with their beaches at 100% safety failure. Ha! 100% safety failure. Swimming in poop water. That's their words, by the way. I'm not trying to be crude. Swimming in poop water can cause respiratory disease, eye and ear infection, and skin rash, and a terrible case of the heebie-jeebies. Because that's gross. There are some 57 million cases of waterborne illnesses reported in the United States every year. What? 57 million cases of waterborne illnesses in the United States every year? You know, and some of this is human waste that is in antiquated systems, antiquated pipes, antiquated processing facilities, antiquated everything, and it leaks into the ocean. We have that story, and Laura, we talked about this just a few weeks ago because it suddenly popped up number one on our webpage again. But there is a pipeline down in South Florida that does nothing but spew human waste 24 hours a day into the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, and it's still going.
And
it's been years.
It's been years. It's been decades. And it's just human waste that regularly flows into the Atlantic because some years ago, someone thought that was a good idea. Well, some years ago, someone also thought it was a good idea to dump 2 million tires, automobile tires, into the ocean off of Florida to make an artificial reef, when in fact the tires killed everything in its sight, and they have now been trying to remove those tires from the ocean ever since. But does this give you pause before you go to the beach? The beach is not typically my first option for places to go hang out, but it might be my second or third or fourth or fifth. I like to go fishing. And I like when you look at the water and it's pristine and you can see all the way to the bottom, and I think, oh, the water is so clean and clear. But it's not, because you're not looking at the microbic particles that are in there that could kill you. And I looked at the map. All Florida beaches are to one extent or another, affected by this. All Florida beaches have poop on them. And I don't know, and I know a lot of this is human waste, and a lot of it comes from cows. But keep in mind that every single thing in the ocean poops in the ocean. So you're swimming in dolphin poop. You're swimming in mackerel poop. You're swimming in manatee poop. You're swimming in poop. Poop! You're swimming in it. I'm Joe Kelley, 844-580-WDBO, or hit me up in the open mic in the WDBO app.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. In-depth segments on topics that matter to Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
I love your show every night. You're doing great, bud.
As we so often do, we've got multiple talk radio tabs open in the talk radio browser right now. We're talking about how half of America's beaches are covered in poop, and they're unsafe to swim in. A majority of Floridians side with DeSantis over Disney. Disney's brand is very tarnished. Analysts expect Disney to be bought by Apple within the next 3 years. Disney is vacated. There's nobody there. There's nobody at the theme parks right now. We have a Florida insurance crisis because our insurance rates keep going up. And that's about it. So those are the topics that we're working on right now, and you are free and welcome and encouraged and invited to join us on the radio at 844-580-WDBO or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
Oh, my God. Please don't let Apple buy Disney. I mean, I'm not even a Disney. I don't even like Disney. But Apple, they're trying to brainwash everybody, and everybody's addicted to their phones and iPhones, and they just keep making different sizes of things and people buy it. It's genius, but God, they're the devil.
I like how you compliment them, but then call them the devil. I will say that I've been watching a couple shows on Apple Plus in the last couple of weeks, and it is interesting to watch how many characters have Apple phones in Apple Plus. What do they call that? Synergy? That's business synergy, right? If you're using one part of your business to promote another part of your business.
What in the... I cannot believe that. How are they allowed to do that? How is that allowed? How are you allowed to do that? Just skyrocket rates? What is going on? What? These guys they're all useless. Left, right, center, they're all useless.
I barely know what he's talking about, but I agree with you completely on that.
Hey, Joe, the reason we can't go to Disney is we're trying to play our insurance.
Yeah, I see what you did there. You combined two of our talk radio tabs.
Hey, Joe, local guy here. Don't go to Disney very often. However, I was out at Disney Springs because I had family that came into town to go to Disney, and Disney Springs was jam-packed. Don't know how that relates to the parks, but jam-packed Disney Springs.
That's interesting. Paul or Laurel, have you guys been to Disney Springs in recent days or weeks?
No, but I saw a post on one of the Disney groups on Facebook that it was slammed, and of course all the comments were like, "It's summer, of course, it's like that all the time." But yeah,
it's
I
also
have seen
free.
posts.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free, right?
It's free to park. It's free to get in. Of course, it costs if you want to buy anything. But I still love to go there from time to time for the dine-in movie theater. I always think that's a fun experience. Splitsville, I love Splitsville. There's lots of good bars and restaurants at Disney Springs. I love Disney Springs.
The problem is these insurance companies invested all their money in commercial real estate. Everybody's working from home. So therefore they have to raise the rates because they're not making money off their investment.
Yeah, I think I do believe that is a big part of it because commercial real estate has gone down the tubes. Commercial real estate has become the proverbial poop on the beach at this point because nobody needs commercial real estate because we just have no one that needs them to the extent that they did before.
Hey, Joe, calling about the Florida homeowners insurance. I mean, the writing was on the wall. For everybody that had a little bit of hail damage or something that they thought needed to be replaced, like a new roof, when it really didn't need to be replaced from the storm, thank you. Now all of our homeowners insurance policies are being raised if you can get them.
Well, I mean, theoretically, people should not get roofs replaced just because they want a roof replaced. There should be genuine damage to that rooftop. You should be able to find damage on that rooftop.
Then again, you have all these ambulance chasers that as soon as a hailstorm comes, your neighborhood is flooded with people going, "Hey, we'll go up on your roof to see if there's any damage," and they always find damage.
And for what it's worth, the insurance does come out and look at the roof themselves. And
They
says,
do.
Oh,
They
yeah,
do.
there is damage here. So
They do.
It's not like we can just say, "Oh, I had damage," and they came and replaced our roof.
I have had one roof replaced in my lifetime of home ownership, and it was when I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we lived in a community that had 74 houses, And we got hit by a hailstorm so bad, such a strong hailstorm, that out of 74 houses, 73 had to have their roofs replaced. I don't know how that one guy either dodged a bullet or was unfortunate that he didn't get a new roof. I'm not sure which it was. But at the time, regrettably, I was the president of our homeowners association, which I highly regret, and I highly encourage. Oh,
you're the guy.
I highly encourage anybody, if you ever get the chance to be on the board of your homeowners association, run like hell. Run the other way and run as fast as you can. So not only was I on the board, but I was the board president, and I had to coordinate with every homeowner because all the shingles had to be the same color. Damn it, every shingle in the entire neighborhood had to be the same color from the same manufacturer.
Oh, my HOA was like, if y'all get it done before June, we don't care. Just get it done before June.
They didn't care what color or anything like that?
They told us we don't need approval if we get it done before June.
Man, that was a major headache in my life. But I went up on the roof with the inspector and the insurance company, and it was quite clear that there was rooftop damage from the hailstorm.
Joe, I think some of the issues, with the insurance is a lot of companies are no longer taking new clients for home insurance, and with all the storms and the companies having to spend the billions of dollars that they have over the last few years, they're just raising premiums on everybody so they can recoup their money. It's just a racket, and it's really a shameful one.
And they raise rates on everybody. It would be less painful if they raised rates on everybody in the United States, but they don't. They raise them by the state. And so it's Florida insurance owners that are the ones that are really getting hit particularly hard in this case.
Joe, I have an interesting question. Have you done any research on the difference between Disneyland and Disney World? We all know that California is a lot more woke than Florida, and because of what's going on with DeSantis and all of the things that are different, they say that Disney's lost money. I don't think so. But has there been a much bigger change on Florida than in California?
Yes, much bigger change in Florida than California, and Disney most certainly has lost money. I mean, their market cap was cut in half. Their market capitalization, what the company is worth, has been cut in half since 2021. So they are hitting financial hard times because they're losing money on their three staples of business are television, film, and theme parks. And all three of those are losing money right now. So they are losing money. Disney is right now. Disney, as you may recall, was going to move some of the high-paying jobs from California to Florida, to Lake Nona. They recently canceled those plans. Some would argue it was because of Governor DeSantis. Others would point out that Disney has been in cost-cutting mode ever since anyway, because they are losing out so much money.
Hi, Joe. It's Annie in Oviedo. I just wanted to comment on the Disney discussion. I feel the exact same way you and your previous caller do. We were also all huddled around the TV every Sunday night for Disney Movie of the Week. Wanted to let you know they priced themselves out of range of the normal middle-class American family, and Walt Disney would be rolling over in his grave because this is not what he intended. It was the happiest place on earth, and now it's political.
And the movie was always like Escape from Witch Mountain. Then there was like the return from the escape to Witch Mountain. And then there was like the going back to Witch Mountain. And do you know that little girl, that cute little girl that was in the Witch Mountain movies? Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is now? That's Kylie Richards. She is on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, is it? I've never seen a Real Housewives show ever in my life. But I think she's on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. That cute little girl that was in the Escape to Witch Mountain movies grew up to be in
Do you know the cute little girl from The Grinch? Jim Carrey's The Grinch is now the lead singer of a really awesome but scandalous metal band.
Really? No, I did not know that. She was such a cute little girl.
Yeah, well, now she screams.
Yeah.
Taylor Momsen, yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll continue with more of your calls and comments coming up next at 844-580-WDBO. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. It's the Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. News, weather, traffic, all the things you want on your drive home. Plus, Joe Kelley being, well, Joe Kelley. Now, The Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
844-580-WDBO or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
Hi, Joe. I remember exactly what you're talking about. I am a Floridian, second generation, and we would sit and watch The Wonderful World of Disney every Sunday. I think it was at 7 p.m., and that was the highlight of our week. So it just baffles my mind how far Disney has fallen.
Yeah, it makes me sad. Makes me sad how far Disney has fallen. I mean, I just have such fond childhood memories of Disney and their Sunday night. And then Walt Disney would introduce the movie. And then I think after Walt Disney passed, oh heavens, what's the name of the CEO? Michael Eisner. I think Michael Eisner started to take up that mantle, and he would introduce the Sunday night movie, and that's, long gone now. We don't have that anymore, or do we? I don't watch TV, so I don't know if that's not still on, is it? The Sunday night Disney movie? Probably not. I don't think so.
I don't think we can discount the heat, the dismal situation with Disney. I think part of it can be contributed to the heat. People are not wanting to stand outside in short lines or long lines in the heat.
Well, and that would have certainly explained why Universal has also seen their numbers down in the last few weeks as well, is if it's just the heat. Though, so many people that plan to come to Disney, Laurel, as you alluded earlier, they plan for months, if not years, to be able to come here. They don't know what the forecast is going to be when they get here. So, maybe some local people don't go. But I would think the national and international tourists would still show up at Disney no matter how hot it is.
Yeah, you'd think, in my brain, it's always been summertime means summer break, and there's going to be tourists here. And yeah, I don't know where they all are.
And it's going to be hot as smoke, no doubt about it. I'm Joe Kelley. Thank you so much for being a part of the Joe Kelley Show. We sure do appreciate it. We love you guys very much. We'll be back here again with you tomorrow night. Weekdays, 5 till 7. Look for the Joe Kelley Show podcast. You can look for the Joe Kelley Show Facebook page. You can look for the Joe Kelley Show limousines. We've got Joe Kelley Show Tervis tumblers. None of that is true. No, we don't have any of those. We don't have any budget for that kind of stuff. The third hour of the Sean Hannity Show is coming up next on WDBO.